Let's make a stripy neck scarf. Hello and welcome back. I will show you exactly step by step on how to crochet these stripy neck scarves that I don't seem to stop making. I am absolutely obsessed. So I already have the tutorial up for a neck scarf that is all one color, but I feel like the stripy version is different enough for me to redo the tutorial, just in case someone has never switched colors within the project. Also, I wanted to make the project so that you don't have a million ends to weave in at the end. Also, it is an amazing project to reduce your yarn stash. I definitely have. Please, if you make one for yourself, let me know. Either in the comments here or on any of my socials. I am thrilled to get any pictures or tag me or anything like that. And also let me know what color combos you choose so I can make one myself as well in all of the color combos. So without rambling on, let's get into the tutorial and I hope you enjoy. Let's talk materials. Okay, so you're going to choose 2 different colors of yarn, a hook size according to the yarn, and then some scissors. So I would recommend using a yarn that you like on your skin because the neck scarf is going to sit very tight on your neck and you better like the feeling of the yarn on your skin. Also, it's good if the 2 different colors you're choosing have the same thickness or similar thicknesses. For this project, my needle size is going to be 3.5, but for all of the other examples I've shown you or will show you, I have used thicker yarn and used a 4.5mm hook. And then some scissors for cutting the yarn at the very end. Okay, so I'm grabbing the color that I want the project to start with, which is the beige in my case, and I'm starting off with a slip knot. So I am grabbing the yarn, I have the end here and here's the rest, and I put them like this. Then I'm gonna put the long end over the short like this. So I have a little circle here, and then I grab the end piece but still holding on to it and then pulling it through the loop, and when I wiggle and pull on it, it gets tighter. So I'm putting the yarn on my hook and pulling it tight, and now I can get started. Starting off by chaining 3. So 1, 2, 3. This is the chain we are starting with. Now we have 1, 2, 3 chains, and into the second one I'm going to do a stacked single crochet. So I'm inserting my hook into that chain space, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through 2. Now I made a single crochet, and into that single crochet I'm going to grab the first loop. So when you look from the side, you have that loop and that loop. I'm inserting my hook into the first one, yarning over, pulling through, and doing another single crochet. So I have 2 loops on my hook now, so I just have to yarn over and pull through 2 again. So that is a stacked single crochet. Now I'm going to do a half double crochet into the very same chain space that I've just done the stacked single crochet in. So I am yarning over, inserting my hook into the same chain space, yarning over, pulling through. Now I have 3 loops on my hook, so I'm yarning over and pulling through all 3 of them. So that was a half double crochet. Now I am doing another half double crochet into the next chain space. So that was the very first chain that I've made the row below. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the very first chain space, yarning over, pulling through, 3 loops on the hook, yarning over, pulling through all 3. So that is the start. It is a little bit fumbly at the start, but it will get much easier as the project will go on. Where the tail of the project is also where the tip of the scarf is going to be. This is where we are going to build up the scarf, and this is going to be the tip. I am turning my work and now grabbing my second color. So I actually changed my mind and I'm going to use this color because I feel like the blue, you can't really tell the difference between the beige and the blue as well, which is not ideal for a tutorial. So I'm switching to this color, which is basically the same yarn, but a different color. So it's time to attach the new color. So I'm starting off again with a slip knot, grabbing my hook and project, putting the yarn over my hook as well, pulling it tight like this, and then pulling it through the loop that has the old color. So I'm pulling the loop a little tighter, so I'm pulling on the beige right now, just to have it like a little bit smaller of a loop, like this. And this is where we are going to start working with I'm going to call it red now. So red and beige. So when you look on top, you see these V shapes. These V shapes create a chain space underneath them. So right here and right here. And I'm going to start incorporating the red by doing a stacked single crochet into the very first chain space here. So I'm inserting my hook, grabbing the red, yarning over, pulling through, 2 loops on my hook, yarning over, pulling through 2, like this, and then again inserting my hook into the first side loop of the single crochet, yarning over, pulling through, 2 loops on the hook, yarning over, pulling through 2, like this. So this is the start of the red row. What I'm going to do now is I'm grabbing the beige yarn and pulling it up a little bit to lay on top where my stitches are going to go. So I'm bringing it up a little bit. So when I now start working the rows, I can take the yarn with me. So when I start working my way back again, I can immediately grab the beige. And there I'm going to take the red with me. So instead of talking so much, I'm going to show you. So I have the yarn up with me like this, and I'm going to do a half double crochet into the very same chain space that I've done the stacked single crochet. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook, and now when I'm inserting my hook, the beige yarn lays, so normally it wants to go down. I'm putting it over the hook like this. I'm not yarning over, but it just lays on top of the hook. I hope you can see. Then I'm yarning over the color that I'm working with, so the red. Pulling through, I have 3 loops on my hook. Now I can yarn over and pull through all 3. And what that does is that the beige yarn now comes out here and kind of disappears into the color that we're working with. And this is how I'm going to keep going. So I'm working into the next possible stitch, holding up the beige yarn. So next half double crochet. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the next stitch, having the beige yarn laying on top of my hook, but doing nothing else, yarning over, pulling through, 3 loops on the hook, yarning over, pulling through all 3. So I have done stacked single crochet, half double crochet into the same stitch, and then half double crochet into the next stitch. I'm going to continue with half double crochet into the next chain space. So yarn over, inserting my hook into the next chain space, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through all 3. Now I have 3 half double crochets in that row, and I want to have 4. The thing is, the next space that I'm going to insert this stitch is not really a stitch. It's more so the side of the stitch below, but this is the way I'm going to increase at the very start. It's going to be a little less messy when we go from here, but I'm going to do 1 more half double crochet. So yarning over, still keeping my beige yarn with me right here, inserting my hook into the side. So I'm not super neat with this, just basically next to the last stitch, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through all 3. And always when I'm at the end of that row, which I am, I'm going to pull a little bit the yarn that I've taken with me, so like this, so it won't bunch up where I cannot really see it. And this is the point where I'm going to switch colors again. So I am turning my work and then switching the yarn that I'm working with. Now I'm inserting my hook into the very first chain space and starting a single crochet with the beige yarn. So I still have the red on my hook, but now I'm grabbing the beige, pulling it through. Now I have 2 loops on my hook, one which is the beige yarn and one which is the red. I am yarning over, pulling through both of them. Here you can also adjust the loop size of the red by pulling a little bit so it doesn't get too big. Now I am starting every round with a stacked single crochet. So I'm inserting my hook now into the red loop, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through 2. So I have my stacked single crochets right here. Now I am taking the red again, putting it underneath and up, and doing the exact same thing that I've done the row before and trying to incorporate it with what I'm doing now. So for the rest of the row, I'm doing half double crochets again. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the same chain space that I've did the stacked single crochets, so right here, and having the red yarn laying on top of my hook, but not doing anything with it, yarning over the beige one, pulling through, 3 loops on the hook, yarning over, pulling through all 3. Now doing a half double crochet into the next chain space, yarning over, inserting my hook, having the red lay on top of my hook, yarning over the beige, pulling through, and then pulling through the 3 loops on my hook. So that was the second half double crochet. I want to do 1 more half double crochet each row until I have the thickness of the scarf that I want. But the difference from here on out is that I'm going to increase by doing 2 half double crochets within the same stitch when I'm around in the middle of the project. So the next stitch is roughly the middle. You could also do it at the end. I started to do it in the middle and I kind of like it, so I will keep doing this. So I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the next chain space, having the red lay on top, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through all 3. And then I'm going to do the increase in the same stitch. So I'm going to do 1 more half double crochet into the same chain space and keeping everything else the same as I did before, like this, and onto the next stitch. So I'm yarning over, doing another half double crochet and bringing the red with me. So I have 5 half double crochets in that row now. What I'm going to do now is pull on the red a little bit, not too tight. I'm going to loosen it again a little bit just to make sure I am not having the red bunch up where I cannot see it. I'm going to turn my work and switch colors again. I'm putting the red on my finger, inserting my hook into the very first stitch and doing a stacked single crochet. So I have it like this, yarn over, pull through 2, and now it's the exact opposite from before. I'm inserting my hook into the beige loop, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through 2 loops on my hook. That's the stacked single crochet. I am pulling up the beige so I can work it into the row and then do 6 half double crochets within that row and increasing in the middle of the row. So I'm gonna take you with me with that. I'm yarning over, inserting my hook into the same stitch like this, doing a half double crochet into the next stitch, and always making sure that the beige yarn is laying on top of the hook when I am yarning over my yarn to grab the red. Now I am doing 2 half double crochets into roughly the middle of the project to make the project wider as I go, and then doing a half double crochet into the next stitch, and then one last half double crochet into the last stitch of the row. I'm at the end again, so I am pulling gently on the beige yarn, turning my work and switching the color to beige again. So, changing colors. Stacked single crochet, inserting my hook into the red now, another single crochet, pulling up my red, and I always do the first half double crochet into the same stitch that I've worked the stacked single crochet in, and then keep going with half double crochet into each stitch, doing an increase when I am roughly in the middle. So for me it's right here, like this. Sometimes I also already adjust the yarn I'm taking with me while I'm still in the middle of it. You can do it at the end, in the middle, just as you feel comfortable. Doing another half double crochet in the next stitch and one more, like this. So now I have 7, like that. I am turning my work and switching the color that is on my finger, and do a stacked single crochet to start, bringing up my beige and doing a half double crochet into the same stitch. Again, I am increasing when I'm here in the middle of the project, and then keep going. And here's where we are right now. If you would like the project to get wider more slowly, so it's more narrow for longer and then gets wider a little bit later, you could do the increases every other row. If you want it to get wider even quicker, you can do more increases per row. So the increase basically makes it so each row you have one more stitch to go. So just in case you want to switch up the style a little bit, I'm switching the color of yarn on my finger again, and same old, doing a stacked single crochet, bringing up the yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Always making sure it's either on top of the hook or it is already laying over the V shapes like this, which is basically the same, just a little bit more to the right. And doing half double crochets. So I think the system is pretty clear now, and I'm going to continue doing exactly what I've shown you for the next couple of rows until I am at the width of the project that I want the whole scarf to be, that goes around my neck. Then I'm going to meet you again when I get there, because that's where things are changing just a little bit. Okay, so I am at a point where I like the width of my project, and the only thing that changes from here on out is that I am leaving out the increases in the middle. So I am just going to work into every single stitch that is right here without doing increases, and doing that for a long time until the project is long enough to wrap around my neck, to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 rows where I'm going to stop increasing, but this may vary on how thick you like the project to be, but also what thickness of yarn you are using. So you might get to that thickness a little quicker, or it takes a little longer. I'm going to start working the middle section now, and everything else stays the same. So I'm switching my colors as before with a stacked single crochet, bringing in my beige yarn here and doing half double crochets for the whole row. I'm just leaving out the increases. So for one that I've already have, this one is a little bit more narrow than that one, or this one is even thinner, but then I also have one that is a little wider than that. So I'm always playing around with how thick I want the scarf to be, whatever I'm feeling at the moment. And for this project it is around 14 stitches in width, but you do as you like it. And I'm actually going to meet you again when it's time to decrease again. Alright, so the project is mostly done, so I will stop at around 128 centimeters. I vary the length of every project I do. I will try it on and see how I like the length for that specific project, but that's how long I will do that version. So now's the time where I will start to decrease and create the other side of the scarf. And for that I will mirror exactly what I did at the start, but doing the opposite. So when I started, I increased every row by doing one more stitch. And what I'm going to do at the end now is decreasing every row that I will do from here on out. So I will create the little tip. If you changed up the start, for example, doing increases every second row, you would mirror that and do decreases every second row at the end. That's how you basically would end your project. So I will show you how I like to decrease. So at the start I was doing the increases in the middle, and now I will try to do the decreases roughly in the middle as well. So I'm starting the row exactly the same as I did the 500 rows below, and I'm going to continue doing half double crochets in each stitch. So now I am roughly in the middle of the project, and here's where I'm going to do the decrease. So I'm starting my half double crochet as I would normally. I'm inserting my hook into the stitch, yarning over, pulling through, and normally at that point I would yarn over and pull through all three, but what I'm going to do instead is insert my hook into the next stitch, yarning over, pulling through. Now I have 4 loops on my hook, and I yarn over and pull through all of the 4. What that does is it is combining both of the stitches here in the next row, meaning I have 1 less stitch in the row that I'm just creating. I am finishing off that row as I would normally. So I am continuing with half double crochet into every stitch like that, turning my work, and I am switching colors again. Now that I am roughly in the middle, I am going to do a decrease again, so starting with the half double crochet as I would normally, and then inserting my hook into the next stitch, yarning over, pulling through until I have 4 loops on my hook, yarning over, pulling through all 4, and then finishing off that row with half double crochets. And that is what I'm going to do until the very end of the scarf. And now you are kind of starting to see that the project is getting smaller and smaller. Alright, so I decreased every single row by 1, and I think I am almost at the very end now. So I'm doing my stacked single crochet as my turning chain and my first half double crochet, and I only have 2 stitches left here, so I will decrease them like that. And that is where I'm going to finish off the project. I will chain 1, and then I will snip both of the yarns and pull through my last color like that. And that is how I finish off the other side. So as you can see here, now I have 2 points at the very end. And what is left to do is weaving in the ends. I don't really have a perfect system set, but I will try to keep it within the same color. So I will weave in this end. I will go in and out within that row, and I will try to do the same with the very tip. And same thing for that side. And what I did with some of the projects is adding an additional border with another color. I think I like this project as it is, but I will show you how I would go about it. So either you pick a color completely different to what you have here, or you choose one of the colors that you're already working with. I would start with a slip knot like that, and I would just take my finished scarf and insert my hook into a random point at the edge of the scarf. So it doesn't actually really matter where. I'm going to start here. I'm going to slip the slip knot onto the hook and then tighten, pull it through my project like this and chain one. And now what I would do is do a single crochet border all around. How I would do that is by inserting my hook next to where I inserted my hook before. There are not really super clear stitches here because we are at the side of the project. So I'm just guessing and trying to make the distances equal. So I have 2 loops on my hook now. I would yarn over and pull through both. So single crochet, inserting my hook into the next space, yarning over, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through too. And that is how I would go all around. I will just do a couple because I don't really want a border for this one. But as you can see here, it gets a nice little edge, and I think you can really play around with adding another pop of color or finishing off the project nicely. I have also done that with the plain ones I've made before. I will grab one that I really like, just a sec. So with the black one right here, I have used a little bit of a thicker white yarn and also a bigger hook, I think. Kept the distances a little bit bigger than I did, for example, for this project. And I think it gives it a really nice effect. For this border, I think I used a slip stitch actually, but I've done single crochet for most of my other projects that I used a border for. So just have fun with it. I think it is just a really fun way to play around with it even more. So normally I would include a speed explanation of the project, but since it is much easier to just look what I'm doing here, I will not include that part. What I will do is write down the pattern and put them in the description box. So that is basically the speed explanation, because I would just recite what the written pattern is like. So if you are looking for the speed explanation, check out the information box and you will find the written pattern there. So thank you so much for watching. Please let me know if you make one for yourself, and if you like the tutorial. I have some really nice and cozy things planned for the winter season, and I hope you will come along. So see you in the next one. Bye! Let's make a stripy neckscarf. Let's make a neck. Let's make a neck. How much is too much? I still have one that is laying right there that is not quite finished yet, and also someone already snagged one of mine. So that's not even all of it, and I'm already thinking about starting a new project. I feel royal in this.